Sup yo, it's Tello here. Now, I normally don't make reaction style videos, but it seems like for today's video, it's going to be one. Because the whole Narc versus Steven Sharif situation has gotten a whole lot more crazier. So it seems like that Asmon reacted to the Narc video, which then led to Steven Sharif making his first ever video on his personal channel to the Narc situation and Asmon's reaction. Now, I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to give you my honest takes on how I feel about it. Just know that I have no issues with Steven Sharif nor Narc. I might feel indifferent on certain topics, but I like the Ashes of Creation. I like the game. I think Steven is genuine about the product. And I like Narc. I have no issues with the individual. And I understand if he wants to take a break with Ashes, that's his every right to do so. Whether it's as a person, he feels like he needs to take a different direction in life, or even as a content creator, it's completely up to him. Let's talk about it. I'll give you my takes into the video. Let's go.
Hey, Asmon.
All right, here it is, guys.
Your video reviewing Narcs. Very unfortunate video about Ashes, and I wanted to take just a moment to go through a couple of the things that he says that I feel are really disingenuous and unfortunately paint a very negative light on myself, on the team, on the project. And I think that it's very intentional what he did in his video. And I think it's important to the viewers that they have an opportunity to really inspect and understand what Narc is saying and whether or not it's accurate and true and whether or not there's a bias there. And if he's trying to paint a picture that is overly negative for the purposes of trying to defame the project because of whatever reason that he's become discontent about us. But I think the biggest takeaway in watching his video that can give a real clear sign to the viewers that what he is saying is not accurate is the way he portrays the desert.
I had a feeling he was going to talk about this because that's the one portion of the Narc video that I did watch where I was like, I don't know if this is an accurate take right now, because this is the current next couple months of this roadmap where they are focusing on the progression of the nodes and expanding upon it. And I think this was the wrong take to have from Narc's point of view. So just, being a little bit of constructive with my criticism here, I think that was the wrong take for him to have, because those areas are going to be further developed and the deserts are still being expanded upon. And then they're going to working on the tropics as well. I mean, Narc already knows this stuff, so I'm not too sure why he decided to just go all the way out to like the, I guess, oasis of the desert, where it's just like not yet, built upon assets yet that are being still placed in a foundation to get more layered upon. So it was a weird place for Narc to go with his video, but let's continue.
And 2 years ago we had, let me set my speed a little bit lower. 2 years ago we had a showcase of our development update, kind of walking through the zone of the desert that was completed, so that players could see what that desert's going to look like, what the zone's going to be like. And in his video, he goes to the edge of the map. Basically, you can see, kind of this area, which is the entrance into the desert. And this desert is supposed to be relatively large. I mean, it's going to go all the way kind of down out here.
And for those who don't know, the areas that you're seeing over here, and obviously, they're working on these nodes. These are areas that they are still even increasing the quality of life in these places, but they have much more work to expand within the entire, node area of the desert biome being expanded upon and putting more layers and different mobs, right? And, obviously different, elites or whatever, right? They're still working on the desert. So there is a portion of the desert that has mobs and people with PvP there, and you could farm some resources there. Like there is a portion of it done, but it's a very small portion in comparison to what they want to work on, which in my last video, I was basically saying that I do think the assets need to be more focused on the main 1 to 25 experience to increase XP gains, because it is a play test. I feel like, with the wipes, it takes a long time just to constantly always having to focus on just leveling up, when we could just fix other systems like the questing system, which I think is really janky, and player issues like sometimes there's loot bugs, sometimes there is player skipping, or sometimes there's also issues with player abilities clipping through walls, or mobs clipping, stuff like that, which I think needed a little bit more focus on. But regardless of that, I understand that they are focusing on node progression this phase.
And this section is still incomplete, right? We are building the game. We are in alpha. We have been very clear that there is a significant amount of work, of course, for us to do.
Correct.
The approach that I have taken with this project has been one to kind of show that process very clearly to the players. And he makes a claim that, what we show is not real or is fake to some degree or some way. And that's just completely false. Um, he purposefully goes out to the edge of the desert in his video without giving any context to the viewers that this whole section of the desert exists.
Which I'm not gonna lie, that was funny as shit. Like Steven, I don't know if you would ever watch my videos or if you ever seen my channel. It was pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie. From a comedy standpoint, that shit was hilarious. It gave me a good chuckle. I'm not gonna lie. It was a good damn laugh. Kudos to Narc for that. He's on to some shit.
Right? This is some
That was funny.
26 square kilometers of desert area
But I get the
that
damaging part,
is
for sure.
present within the world. Um, and he doesn't show any of that, which I think is really just unfortunate. Here we have a little player here. Hold on.
And there is mobs and things you can do in the desert. It's just like it's not done yet. So in a way, like what Narc was showing was really just I think it was more of comedy more than anything for me. But if he really was taking that serious in his video and being genuine about that, I think that was incorrect to do, because at the end of the day, they have people on their team that is also, like, the holidays just happened. There was a lot of shit that went down in the holidays that was kind of janky. Even in the Discord, there was a lot of like complaining. But overall, though, like, they have a lot of months on their, time watch or whatever the hell you want to call it, their clock, that basically is, preparing for the no progression in this roadmap, which that was their plans to do for this roadmap. So I think the desert's going to get much more expanded upon, especially around May. And if it isn't, then we'll talk some shit then. But until then, let's give the time being, it's a playtest after all.
Christmas hat because they found me. So, just kind of running through the space, you ask yourself, why would Narc purposefully show for a minute and a half in his video a completely barren section of the edge of the map to try to demonstrate to the viewer that what we showed was not real, when in fact there is a huge portion of the desert that is complete, that is a playable space, that has monsters in it, that is exactly what we showed um, in our preview of the desert biome. It's completely disingenuous, and it's intended to influence the viewer's perception of us, of myself,
Okay.
and to demean our character, which is just completely unfair. And
I mean, honestly, he's not wrong there. And here's the thing: I might come across at some points where I defend somebody and don't think I'm shilling for a person because I'm defending them, but he's absolutely right. You can't show a portion of the video and saying that that's what they are lying to you about, when the team already actively has a plan in place in their playbook to work on the desert and the expansion of the biome. They already talked about this already, and say that they are straight up lying about how they're utilizing all their assets, whether it's like the dynamic weather or the freehold thing that Narc was showing in his video as well. These are a lot of things that are in place already on the back end of development that they want to get to eventually, but there is a lot of things they are focusing on, including a lot of the other areas of the game as well, besides just the deserts, that they are improving upon, bug errors, internal errors, etc. So I think, honestly, there's a lot of development that is going on that me as a player, nor Narc or anyone else, is not aware of, and there is still things to be, furtherly discussed at the time when the phase is over, if things didn't work out as intended it was, or there's a better input or output from things from Stephen Sharif's standpoint on how they want to handle the desert in the future or whatever. And I think we just have to pump the brakes before we make any further assumptions on where the game is at the current state, because I think there's a lot more development to happen.
and we don't have a way to inform all of the people who go and watch Narc's video. It has over 100,000 views now, or your video, which is going to have 500,000 or a million views, and people are going to walk away from that video and they're going to think, wow, why would they show something that is inaccurate when here is exactly what we showed?
Yeah, and once again, like, I think Narc, that if he was 100% genuinely serious about, which I do think he was, from his video about, the desert just being completely empty and here's what we got is what he was saying. I think that was probably one of the weaker points of his video. And one of his strongest points for me was him saying that people should take a break. This game is not ready yet, and I know this game's not ready yet. I said this in my last video. I don't think we're getting this game for like 2-3 years. That's a genuine response, and I personally believe that. But I think Narc should have never showcased that the desert is just basically getting abandoned, kind of, and saying that they're lying to you at the same time saying that the game's not a scam. So like you're saying that they're lying to us as players and the playtesters, and you're sorry that you've recommended the game, and but at the same time it's not a scam. So what is it? Is the game, is it like a game that we're getting lied to about? Like I'm confused. Like are we getting scammed here? Like is the game gonna be good? Then you say come back in a couple of years. So I think Narg was a little back and forth between his points, and it's no hate on him as an individual. I'm just saying some of his points got a little bit, I guess, screwed up in the mixture of how he was presenting them, to the point where I was confused on like what he was getting at. But I do respect Narc, and I think he obviously gave a shit about Ashes of Creation, and he obviously supported for this many years.
I think it's important that people see that. And I think it's important that they understand that this section of the world is here, that we do not show any updates or development that is not real, that is fake. I understand that people have been burned through many other developments that have, shown things that aren't exactly accurate.
Very true.
But that's not the case for us.
That's a strong point. People in the MMO scene, I've been a part of many scenes. The FPS scene, I've been a part of the MOBA scene. I know what it's like in other genres as well. The fighting game community scene as well. Love fighting games. But regardless of that, I know what it's like of being in certain communities or games where you felt like this game was going to be absolutely amazing and it's dog shit, or it's not in a good state. It once was really good and now it's horrible. And then the community turns on each other and it's a completely toxic environment and people just go crazy at each other. It's a very cutthroat environment and it's very sad. It's like a dog eat dog world. It's just people go crazy on one another. And I really feel like that, especially with Ashes Creation, people have a problem making this be their main game. And this is like a main game syndrome. Like this is like not Metal Gear Solid, but this is a main game syndrome. And it shouldn't be your main game. It should be a game you pick up every now and then, try it out, see what you like about it, see what you don't, and go from there, and then come back and revisit it because it is a playtest, and give some good advice, maybe a bug report or two, and go from there if you actually support the project. And that's what it's all about. But, obviously as content creators, our main job is to make content on the game. So a lot of us do make this our main game. And I do feel like, in my opinion, and Asmon said something about this too, that you shouldn't like really make something like this like your main game, because like you get locked to something that is not even a game yet. You know what I mean? It's still a playtest, and he's absolutely right in that point. So I really feel like that, having such negative attitudes or these like crazy like arguments or discussion over an alpha, in my opinion, is absolutely absurd. I think we need to have more positive reinforcement on how we can better fix certain issues, with the game, whether it's like, internal bugs or conflicts, or even hearing people out with like, their dilemma with certain situations in the game they want to see improvements on, whether it's PvE or PvP related, etc. Landscape issues, just, better inputs and outputs for the better development process of the game to become a really good MMO in the MMO atmosphere. I think we need to start having more positive, I don't know what the word is, but is it positive or like reinforcement? I think more positive reinforcement for Ashes of Creation, rather than just like constantly saying, okay, scam, dog shit, waste of money. It's really easy to write the negative chain. You know what I mean? It's really easy to be a part of the, being completely negative about something rather than having actual critical thought and trying to improve something. And I know I'm stuttering sometimes. I do apologize, but I'm just, being genuine with you guys.
So that's an important point. The other thing that I wanted to talk about for just a second was that we're 230 plus people that are working on this project, and Ashes of Creation is obviously a very ambitious um, MMORPG that we're trying to create,
Yeah,
and
it is. We're trying to make it
it's not
massive.
always going to be rosy and sunshine in the development process. There are steps that we're going to take forward, and there are steps that we're going to take backwards, and that's okay as long as we stick to that transparent aspect of showing our community, showing our core audience what we're working on, and what's up and coming. We're now in this alpha 2 phase where players are capable of participating 5 days a week, although we've been up for the past almost 3 weeks now, in phase 2. And not everything, we have a roadmap, a very clear roadmap of when additional systems and features are going to be included, and we're going to obviously try to stick to that feature roadmap. But there are things that can happen in development that can set you back, and we are open and honest about what those things can be. And it is very unfortunate when Narc, for the purposes of acquiring views and or followers and subscribers, wants to take things to a very negative place, because negativity can sell.
So right there, I want to pause it. Perfect pause point. There's a couple things I want to talk about there. One, with him talking about how many people are part of his company, saying that there's 200 plus people working on actively, developing this game and putting a lot of their time and effort into making this project. It is a very ambitious project. It's supposed to be one of the most hyped MMOs coming out in a very long time that a lot of people are really looking forward to. And I know there's a lot of jokes saying that we're going to look forward to the game in like 2055 or 2070 or whatever hell the game's going to come out. There's a lot of jokes, and I get that. But they obviously are very passionate about this game, and they have constant communication in the Discord about it. And there was a point, even myself, when I was, deciding to jump ship from playing WoW into Ashes and giving it a shot, where I was, skeptical about it, where I was like, I don't know, or skeptical, whatever the word is. And I was like, I don't know, like, is this a scam? I looked into the information, into the research, really dived deep into, Stephen Sharif's past, and I realized that they really want to put something out here. They genuinely want to put a product out here. Now, whether that product fails or does bad, that's to be discussed at a later date. And that is a much better discussion to have and a genuine quality argument when the game is actually out post development. How is the game doing? Is it going to hold up, or is it just the next New World where like it was great for a while and then it collapses? That's the discussions I want to see. Or is it going to hold strong and be a decent competitor in the MMO atmosphere with FF14 and World of Warcraft, right? And games of that nature. So I really want to see like more positive, like actual critical thought and great discussion happen around Ashes of Creation, rather than just so much negative Nancy news that's been happening the past couple of days, because a certain individual feels like they just feel like the game is like cap or a lie. And I really feel like, in my opinion, I know Narc said that, he said that it wasn't a scam, but what he said in the video, from just hearing it out and really like getting what he's saying and like cutting the weaves of the bush and cutting through the bullshit, you're just basically saying like the game is a scam. And I'm not trying to attack you, Narc, whatsoever. I know I don't know you like on that level. You don't know me. I'm just saying I get where you're getting at. I just think what you need to do, amigo, is just take a break. Like maybe get a drink, settle down, do what you got to do, relax, maybe get a good dinner in you, and come back when you feel like you're ready, or pursue whatever makes you happy, because I think that's what all that matters at the end of the day, amigo. That's just my personal advice. I know I'm a small fry in this content scene, but that's what I would recommend. And then this game will be here for you whenever you're ready to come back. You put all this time and effort into the game, and you've busted your ass for years on end, and you're a great creator, and I feel like you have a lot to offer when you decide to step back to Ashes of Creation. That's just my personal opinion. That's all I'll say on that. But regardless of that, I will follow up with is that it is a bit unfair to like all the developers that are hardly working on the game, and they feel like when they hear all these things being negatively said about them, and they hear it constantly, whether it's either the Discord or just now YouTube with like these comments that are really negative. It's disheartening to them. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to side with corporate and make it be like, oh, I'm shilling for them. But I mean, come on, they're human beings too. At the end of the day, like I just think, we gotta calm down a little bit on the internet and just like, really let things take its course before we judge so fast. So let's continue.
But instead, he had an opportunity to expand upon what we're doing to kind of educate, people as part of this transparent development process, what it takes to make an MMORPG. And for many years he did that, but over the course of the last year he went to a very negative place, and because of that we didn't engage with him at all, as a content creator, and I think that led to him creating this kind of negative echo chamber, which he became beholden to.
And to comment on that real quick, I think he is absolutely right what he said before, how like negativity really does sell. Like a lot of people on the internet nowadays, they like to be much more negative than actually just be creative. And I'm not trying to be rude, and I know that can sound like an attack to creators that like to make only drama style videos, but when you make like only drama style content, for me as a person, I feel like that just cuts from like the creativity of who you are as an individual, and you focus centric everything around just constant hate and build an environment of hate and a community of hate. And in my opinion, I don't like that type of energy. That's not the things that I like to surround myself with. I understand that I've, made some comments in the past on Season of Discovery when I used to do solid content, and I had some critical information to discuss, like actual good input and output, rather than just saying like, Blizzard is dog shit, Blizzard is this, you know what I mean, and like just name calling nonstop. There's a time and a place when you actually have genuine, like actual genuine general drama, you know what I mean, that is like real and it makes sense, rather than just actually just making drama style content just for the hell of it, because it's going to generate clicks and views. And I feel like in this scenario, I know Narc didn't mean to probably do it in that sense, but I feel like this outburst that he had led to a lot of people giving the wrong misconception about Ashes of Creation, and now has caused a much bigger situation where Steven now has to step up into a situation with Asmongold to address further things, which is going to lead to more drama. It's just the way it is, and people like drama. It's what sells, it's what gets views, and I get it. It's just not my personal style of enjoyment of like where I would love to see this particular product go and the quality of it for the time being. I would love to see much more positive stuff, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. We'll still cover it, and we'll go from there, right?
So anyways, I heard your commentary about coming on your show and talking about anything. I am more than happy to do that. Of course, I hate to give any attention, to these types of claims, which are just completely false. But when it reaches the level of viewership and interest that it has right now, I'm kind of forced to do that. And I know a lot of people look at me and they say, "Hey, you're the director of the game. You shouldn't be, engaging with. You should kind of stay above the fray." But that's not why I made this company, and that's not why I started this project. I have dedicated myself over the last 8 years in building this company up from very humble beginnings of just a dozen people, when we first started, to what it is today, which is a very large project that is in the works and trying to accomplish something that I think players want within the space.
Hold on, real quick. Let's pause that. The one thing I will say, I have to give credit where credit is due. Some people will just not like address anything. They'll just totally ignore it. And for certain people, they feel like that's the right approach to do, is just ignore whatever the haters are saying, ignore whatever individual is trying to call you out, and just let it be. But Steven is a different type of person, which from what I can see from, where he doesn't allow somebody to shit where he works at. He doesn't allow somebody to shit on his doormat, and he's not going to allow shit from anyone, which it seems, which is why I could respect that. And now maybe it might come off as like, a bit outlandish the way he, sometimes replies to people, on Discord or, other creators or whatever. But regardless, I can respect the man for stepping up for his product, stepping up for his company, and saying, hey, listen, I'm not going to listen to these false claims that you're trying to make, and I'm going to represent myself. And if I have to do that on a bigger creators platform like Asmon, I'm going to do that. And I will tell the truth. on how it is. And if people want to hear that, hear it out. If you don't want to hear it, that's totally fine. We're still going to try to make this product be the best product we can make it. And I got to give credit to that because, like, I feel like that's admirable, to be honest. And at the same time, I give credit for Narc speaking the shit that he wants to speak as well, because at the end of the day, that's how he personally felt. Even if he, in my opinion, there was a portion of his video, like that desert part, was like blatantly, like obviously cap. But regardless, he feels certain ways about the game. And I respect both of them, to be honest. I don't think this is this is a sense where like one is like completely wrong, one is completely right. But I do think like they both have good takes. I just think Steven has a better quality take of defending his company and the 200 plus people that are working there, because he knows that what Narc did was not correctly justified in that video.
An honest team that is not going to be introducing pay to win, that is going to respect the players' achievements and integrity, that is here because we want this game too. So that's something that I think is important, and it really gets lost when creators like Narc or others give him a platform that is just simply completely false, and it's so hard to bear. It's hard to bear as a person who is very invested invested both monetarily, emotionally, and in my life to creating something for a group of people that I affiliate myself with.
Well, I wouldn't say he's completely false. At the end of the day, Narc is absolutely right about certain things that has been happening in the game. Narc is he's already talked about like the cheating, exploiting that has happened, right? That needed to be addressed. Like Narc's not wrong about that whatsoever. Narc has also went over like the fact that this game is realistically not worth the time to invest into as a playtester and make this the main centric of focus of like your main game to play, because he's absolutely right on that. Like at the end of the day, it is a playtest. You shouldn't treat this as like, your everyday, FF14 World of Warcraft experience and it's a full-fledged game ready to go. You should treat this as a playtest. So I wouldn't say Narc is completely false on that. So I do think Steven is wrong about that. But I will say Steven is correct on the portions of like the lies about assets and how they are working on node progression. I think that is the strongest case that he has here. It's the only case, in my personal opinion, that really Steven has in terms of, Narc being whether he's correct or incorrect. Because I do think Narc made some good points, but at the same time, that is the biggest underlier of the discussion here more than anything, is whether, the game isn't in a place it needs to be in. And how Narc is challenging the company. So I would say, yeah, Narc's not wrong on, that portion when it comes to, talking about the things I just mentioned.
Which is, the gaming community, the MMORPG gaming community. So anyways, I just wanted to make this quick video just as a response. I'm going to post it into your channel, and then I would be very, very happy to join you and talk about it.
I think that's the end of the video, guys.
That you'd like to. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
I just hope these issues get rectified, guys, at the end of the day. Narc seems like a really genuine person. He seems like he has a community that really likes him. Regardless of the drama and the stuff that's been going on in the past couple months of, like, between him and Steven on his channel and how he feels like he needs to go a certain direction with his content, I wish the best for him at the end of the day. Who the hell am I to, judge who's, incorrect in this situation more than anything? I'm just a content creator covering this stuff. But I will say I do hope things can get smoothened out, and I'm looking forward to see him hopping on the Asmon show, obviously, and them talking about what's going on with Ashes of Creation, the development, and obviously his drama that's going on with Narc, and hopefully everything is basically squashed at that point and we can move on and have better discussions about Ashes of Creation. Anywho, much love to you, amigos. Catch you on the next one. Keep on keeping on, all that good stuff, and I'll see y'all later. I'm about to choke on my saliva right now. Where's the Poland Spring? Ugh. About to dump this on my nipples. What?